Oh, it's no secret I pranked the bank and spent on TF2. And I'm ashamed, but also kind of glad that there's still part of me that thinks maybe it's just not worth it. Because there are several different factors in the end. One, there are better things I can get with that money, and two, the servers will go down one day, pretty much. It could be tomorrow, it could be today, I don't know. But they could be all gone, then maybe somehow the database gets deleted. Something like that. And it kind of means that all that money you spent on it is wasted, pretty much. So in a sense, I'm kind of thinking, I don't know, do I need all this? Do I sell it again and do stuff with it? I don't know. That's sort of the quandary I have, but then something occurred to me when I was researching this. The Unusualifier for the taunts. It's a good idea, honestly. I think because it's made unusual taunts more accessible, it's now more inclusive. And I don't see it as a bad thing, ever. It can only ever be a good thing, to me, to be honest. But that's because it's worth the money, to an extent. If I want an unusual all-class taunt, I can get it for a reasonable price, but it's not the best price, to be honest. And that's great. But with unusual hats, it's different because there's a limited quantity of them. And the unusual taunts, basically, the Unusualifier, I think you get a specific taunt and then you get a specific effect. So what it does is that it creates a lot of that taunt. So there's basically no shortage. Basically you can buy Unusualifiers and either get lucky and get a really good effect, or get really unlucky and get nothing, pretty much. But that causes issues, of course. But I don't care about the people crying saying, oh, my taunts have no value now. Nope. Don't hear you. It's just making my thumbnail. I'm just fucking tired of how the economy is just broken by this bullshit all the time. This prestige or whatever you want for them from these expensive items, like a Burning Team Captain. I remember that from back in the day. $15,000 for one, and there's like 3 in the world at that time. It's ridiculous. And it's just not right, really. Jesus. Like, things like that just shouldn't exist, and you can get a good electric car for that money. You know, it's probably virgins who have it, I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, people who can go out and socialise because they have easy access to transport. Either way, it's just ridiculous. But it got me thinking about the idea of universal strangifiers and Unusualifiers for certain things. Like, if you just made it more accessible, like purchase something from the store, and then you get the chance to get a hat that you want. Like with an Unusualifier, I'll find the hats that I like for my classes, I'll customise them, and then I'll Unusualify the hat and see what happens, see what effect I get, and match it. Because that's more fun that way, it's more meaningful. And on top of that, it's definitely cheaper when you want to trade. I'm always happy for that. And it sort of reminds me of this bad experience I had when I was doing trade stuff years ago when I last played. It reminds me of this suggestion I made on backbad.tf, and I can't remember what it was. It might have been the golden frying pan. But I made a suggestion to make it like 1 key or something, and people were like, no, you can't do that. That's stupid. And people accused me of trolling, but I was actually being serious. And I was doing that because I thought the golden pan was overpriced for the fact that there are so many in the world now. There's hundreds, possibly thousands. And the stupid thing is that something like that shouldn't be that highly priced. So imagine if we could Australianize anything in the game. All the things that are already Australian, for that matter. That'd be meaningful. That'd be something. Then people can afford it. And they can make the loadouts they want. One of the things that makes TF2 a fucking abysmal game is the fact that you can't get the things that you want all the time. And in other games like single player you can customise, of course, and that's amazing. So the issue then becomes, what do we do? Also, we just make everything more accessible. Even if we have to, why not? A fucking system where you just buy shit basically from the store, and then you just get what you want. That's amazing. And because the traders make up a small minority of the actual game itself, I don't think it really impacts the player base that much. Just being honest. Given how many bots there are, like, people are going to drop off, and I don't doubt that people will sell their backpacks when it gets bad enough again. It's tempting to me, obviously, because I get fed up with that. So, yeah. Just needs a fix, and it needs it now. It needs to be more accessible, because I have PTSD over a thing that happened a while ago. And it happens, I think it was around Halloween, because there were new Unusuals, I think, 2016, 2017, and I managed to get scammed. And how do I do that when I know what scams are? Well, Moonbound scam and impersonation. So yeah, that took me off guard, and it shocked me actually so much that I wanted to quit the game and move to Overwatch. I was just thinking, like, oh, I'm fed up of this. I'm going. Just not worth it in the end. It was not fun. And even though this technically will only happen once ever, the reason I wanted to quit was because there was a better game out there that wouldn't scam me of my money and drain it necessarily. It does now because of Overwatch 2, but the point is that Overwatch 1 was less predatory than TF2, very much. And that made it worth it to play. That made it fun. Because you could just focus on having a good time. Of course, with TF2 you can't avoid cosmetics, and yeah, and Overwatch 2 now, for that matter. And these games are built on the cosmetics that you can get, and there's no avoiding that. That's the thing, you end up playing it and you see the cosmetics and you think, wow, that's good. But then you can't get it, because scummy Valve, scummy Blizzard, I'm not crazy for thinking you need a Stranger Fire. I just think that it needs to be accessible for people to be invested. And admittedly you can trade your way up, but it takes time, and that's another problem. I'm just thinking about how my bipolar disorder and mental health issues are destroying me, and one day I'm just going to die, and then people who don't know how this game works and how the economy works will just think that my account's just dead, and they don't care about the money, the value it has, because they don't know that it has value. I would want them to put it on the Steam market or raffle it away on scrap.tf. I think it was scrap.tf, was it? I can't remember. It must have been. And then, yeah, you just everyone benefits, and you can give the money to friends, I guess, and buy games for them, maybe. It's just a matter of how do you handle a situation like that, and I think my death is very soon, because the amount of mental health issues I have is absurd, and it's not comforting at all. It's quite a pain. I definitely need help, but people aren't giving me help, so what do? I just die, I guess. That's how I see it going. And apparently I'm so worthless that nobody will touch me, pretty much. And then I get compliments saying I'm the kindest person they know, or I deserve love, but what then? I've got nothing to show for it. So what you're saying isn't true necessarily. That always gets me, and that's what's going to kill me, I think. Just the fact that I'm never going to get anywhere in life, and I put my money into a game and died. Probably extremely brief, but that's part of it anyway. A big part of it. Now, I spent thousands on guitars and end up regretting them because whilst they look nice, I'm not playing them. TF2 at least I do play a lot of, and that's why I think, at least cheaply, I'm not going to spend over £100 on a single item. That's why most of it is justified. It's because I get use out of it. Thousands of hours of use, even. And I'm thinking of getting an all-class hat that is reasonably priced, and I'll enjoy that. But again, that's what I mean by Strangerfire and Unusualifier for everything. It needs to be a thing because people do not want to spend money on a game like this. It's predatory. It's just through and through predatory. There's no other word for it. And even then, I get OCD now because, which I didn't have before, by the way. I just can't see things disorganised, and I've ended up spending money to open crates, and I got a fucking low tier unusual from it, of course. Like, the first ever unusual I got was back in 2014 or 15. I unboxed a kilowatt pirate ray hat, I forgot the name. I definitely got that though. And then later on, when I was in a server, weird server, I think it was a farming server, I unboxed a unusual hat of a sniper, and I think it was Zero Plasma, or Vivid Plasma. Very vintage effects. And that didn't go for much, I don't think. I think I sold it on the community market, stupidly. But yeah, and then obviously the recent one. The problem is that, again, because of that supply and demand and how that plays into unusuals, it isn't very optimal, and people can't afford it. It's simple as. Just trying to think of like a good all-class hat that will look good with an unusual effect, but I don't know. Other point and shoot, yeah, that'd be nice. If they exist, usual point. But that's the thing, I'm just doing it now. It just sucks because hats like that are desirable. And you just get sucked in. So there's an unusual chrome stone. After they go for a lot, fuck me. Yeah, it's just, it sucks. But better could be done. Jesus, it goes on off the Burning Sea Captain. Spellbound one. I bet he'll buy that. To exist. To exist at the Burning Sea. No, Chiverator. Christ. But that's the other thing. I've noticed that a lot of the time the lesser designed unusuals are ones which exist the most of, which is not good, just being honest. You've got the lowest, which is 83 of Ace's High Crown Tone, and you got 33 of the Burning Flames. Just like, what? And that shouldn't be priced high because there's multiple of it. This is why I say we need an Unusualifier. We need to bring this value down. It doesn't matter what people spend on it. You fucking live and learn. And if my own cosmetics go down in price, I don't care. If my Bloody Beast, which is 43 keys I think now, if that becomes 1 key, I don't care. That's good. You know, I can't trade it for 1 key at the moment, but when it does go down, I'll be happy. I don't doubt multiple of it exists. Yeah. I just wanted to discuss that really. It's something that bothers me. And it's because I had the PTSD earlier with the cheating, and then that let me down some low mood stuff. It's tough, to be honest. Because being on the autism spectrum and having hyperfixations and fixations and such, it makes it more difficult to manage. People don't realise this, but even though disability itself isn't bad inherently, it's a different way of seeing the world, and it's difficult because of that. It makes it tough because you can only see it a certain way. So that's all I had to talk about. I'm sorry for the clips in the video. I just get fed up with some of the teams in this game. Not all of them are bad, and I could cope if I wasn't doing contracts, but because I have that fixation on completing them, I just can't help but leave and see if I can get a better team. It's frustrating.